Hello. I am having the most incredible, unbelievable, wonderful.
Get in there and don't call it unbelievable ever again.
Expansion, alignment, manifestation.
So you don't really mean unbelievable, do you? Because if you didn't believe it, it wouldn't be happening.
Oh, it's the fourth gate, fourth. But more specifically, if you could help me understand, you touched on it several times today, the things that have happened due to this incredible awareness, if I can call it that, has been the manifestations that have happened because there was no resistance, even though everybody else thinks I'm nuts.
Not everyone.
True. So the degeneralization of the thought, I've never had a health problem. And this definitely, and as the way as it unfolded, was in vibrational alignment to the things that were going on. But because it was so extreme, I didn't affirm. I didn't have anything that I needed to focus on. I was in bed for 3 months not being able to see or move, or people would say it's not possible. But as everything started to become more clearer, everything that I ever wanted popped immediately with no effort. So the thought.
So what do you think the method or secret to your letting go of resistance was?
Not thinking about it, not thinking it wasn't possible. There was no effort.
And why? What were you doing to distract yourself from that?
Meditating, playing games. I use the analogy my son showed me here recently, but I was using an iPad when I was able to focus again, and it was a real fun game. It made no sense at the time, but it just sounded fun and it kind of looked fun. And then it wasn't until he showed me the reasons why the things were happening did it become more clear, did it become more exhilarating, because now I understood it. So I used to say one thing is to think it, another thing is to know it, but the experiencing it, I would never trade anything that's happened, because what's happened because of it feels so incredible, which in that line of thought is where everybody's like, you need to listen to the doctor, or you don't need to do this, and you don't need to do that. And the more that I do it, the better it feels, and the more that things happen, and the more exhilarating it is. So it's that process of not thinking about it. I didn't think anything. There was no affirmations. There was nothing that I paid any effort to. For the magnitude.
Well, this is another example, not so different from the one that we were just talking about, where when your desire is really strong, even though you may have some normal resistance, if the desire is strong, it can override the resistance. And then the combination of the meditating and the releasing of resistance and the playing of the fun game, in other words, those all go together, don't they? It's such an interesting thing as we talk about, in other words, focus is attention to a subject. And when you just can't get around it, when you're focusing upon a subject of something unwanted and you do it longer, it gets more and more specific and therefore more and more powerful. So to construct a thought of something wanted, you think about it and talk about it a lot. When you construct a thought of something unwanted, you talk about it and think about it a lot. But most people aren't aware of what they're talking about and thinking about, because they are not relating manifestations with anything that they're doing anything about, because there is such a glut of information, such a glut of conversation, such a glut of topics for you to focus upon. You don't even realize for the most part that you're being negatively oriented by the world at large, the world that calls you nuts if you stop doing that. And so without realizing it, a lot of people become more and more specifically focused upon unwanted things without even realizing it, until a manifestation occurs that is evidence of what they're doing. Well, then we say that once a manifestation has occurred, the only way that the manifestation can dissolve or cease to be is if attention is withdrawn from it. But it's not an easy thing to not look at something that is. Once an unwanted manifestation occurs, having your attention on it is sort of the normal, natural things. The doctors look at it. The doctors really look at it. They examine it fully with all kinds of things. They'll even look in places you can't look for it. And they want to talk to you about it. So because of who you are and what's in your vortex, and because of the influence of your son, because of the influence of your inner being, because of the influence of the source within you, of the healing energy within you, as you found yourself specifically focused, so specifically focused that you had a specific manifestation that specifically erupted, as you began to withdraw even though there was a full manifestation, as you began to withdraw your attention from it, you made it go from specific to less specific, to less specific, to less specific, to less specific, to so general, to so general, to so general, to so general. And then the next logical thing for you, and you so wisely followed the guidance of the game, the guidance of meditation, the guidance of your sweet son, right into more specific off that topic, more specific off that topic. In other words, this is the process of getting from wherever you are to where you really want to be. And it doesn't matter how divergent from who you really are and where you really want to be you find yourself in any point in time, you can always move. You found it in a natural, comfortable rhythm. So now you knew that before we said any of that to you. You sit here nodding your knowing. So now what? What are you wanting from where you now are?
So this understanding of the process, it's kind of like I said, one thing is to think, another thing is to know, another thing is to experience it.
All right, well,
why
so
did it have to go
up.
that extreme for me to get there?
But you didn't have to, but it doesn't matter that you did. You didn't have to. But most people think more about what they want when they're living what they don't want. And that question, that specific question, where does it take you? Out or in?
Out.
It takes you out, doesn't it? And so why go there? In other words, and how about a statement like, don't know why, doesn't really matter. It's been quite a ride. I like where I'm at.
Absolutely.
And look at all of the other things. Someone talked about this earlier. Are there things in my vortex that I want so much that I'll set myself up for negative experiences to get there? In other words, relationship with your child really enhanced. Relationship with your inner being really enhanced. Your confidence level way stronger than it ever was. Your zest for life in a much stronger place. In other words, your ability to teach much more compelling, because you can't teach what you don't know, and you know it on such powerful levels. And so there is so much that you wanted so we like to say, if you've got some negative emotion going on and you don't notice it, don't worry, it will get bigger. You don't deactivate it when it's general, it will get more specific. It's just the way the laws of the universe are. If you've got something active, it's going to get bigger. And so the sooner you deactivate unwanted thoughts, the better. But we really, 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 really don't want any of you to be afraid of your thoughts. In the early days, when we were talking about you are the creator of your own reality and you get what you think about whether you want it or not, people were going, trying to suck their thoughts back, cancel, they'd say, try to suck it back before the universe got hold of it. And it's just not that treacherous. It's not that dangerous. The worst thing that can happen when you focus on something you don't want is that it'll get big enough that you'll get clearer that you don't want it. In other words, there isn't anything that has the power to take you over and have its way with you. Nothing. And unless you just give in to it and call it, what are the words? It is, certain, or it is lethal, or it is incurable, or it is, in other words, there are so many bogus things. People take snapshots of people when they're out of the vortex and make whole big monuments about suffering, and then call those who refuse to look silly.
I've heard you say that when you're going 100 miles an hour and you hit a brick wall, it hurts. I would say, okay, I tend to live on the edge. I always have. But then so has been the manifestations that I've been able to enjoy.
Well, now, would you like to reframe the way you're going about this and say, I really like to go 100 miles an hour when the forest is clear and the brick walls are not there. In other words, you want to go fast. You just don't want to go fast when there's resistance in your way. Our analogy is, if you're going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's a bigger problem than if you're going 5 miles an hour and hit a tree. But the thing is, you don't have control over your speed because life keeps speeding you up.
Well, it was
you can't live life as long as you've lived it and really have much control over the speed you're going. But you do have control over the resistance. You have control over whether you're going fast outside the vortex or whether you're going fast inside the vortex. And the reason our friend is enjoying so much relaxation inside the vortex is because there aren't any, he's not running into trees anymore. But he's not happy until he gets going faster either, is he?
And that was the whole point. It's always has been. It has been going wonderful, exhilarating people. Again, why do you do this? Because it feels good.
We have to say to all of you that you would all rather have negative emotion than no emotion. Because in negative emotion, there is awareness of movement. And you've come as creators. And so you'd rather, in most cases, and this is the reason that it's a little bit tricky for us to convince you that as you deactivate, you're going to go through some slow times because you'd rather go fast even if you're hitting trees because it makes you feel like you're getting something done. Until we are able to convince you that you're not getting it done through your action, you're getting it done through your vibration, and your natural vibration will become robust as soon as you lower resistance. So if we can convince you, in other words, introduce resistance to anything and watch it slow down. Anything, any subject, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether it's momentum or inertia, whether it's a car driving down a road. If you introduce resistance to anything, it slows it down. And so if you really mean what you're saying, that you like to go fast, then isn't the answer not efforting? The answer is releasing resistance, and we promise you, you'll go fast. That was good.
Thank you.